Warning. This podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to possibly the quickest and most infuriating episode of the I'm No Joe podcast that I have had to record to date. Thanks to AT&T's pure, unadulterated incompetence, they were supposed to come fix a line in my neighborhood last week. I don't know if anyone saw, but when we did the Wednesday night Combat Compatriot, we had issues, to say the very least. And then on Thursday, we lost all service from AT&T in the neighborhood for, they're saying, the next few days should be back up and running. But as of right now, I still have no reliable home internet, so I obviously cannot go live to do this on Thursday night like I normally would have. But being as how this is Saturday and it is 5 minutes until 4 and the prelims start at 4 o'clock Central Time, of course, we're going to give you the quickest, sloppiest, most casual rundown I'm No Joe podcast that I have ever done. So grab your cup of coffee, get yourself something to puff on, and sit back. We're going to do this real fucking quick, folks. Here we go. Right out the gate, first fight on the fucking card. Carlos Felipe versus Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak is fighting to keep his spot in the UFC. Excuse me, he came in real hot. We saw some flashes of greatness, but he has been on a skid. He hit a rough patch, to say the very least. If you want to stay relevant in UFC, you got to keep at it. Spivak has to win to keep relevant. Next fight. Davi Ramos come in against Arman Sarukian, I believe is how he says his name. Arman Sarukian. That's going to be a good match. Big dudes swinging, going fucking crazy. Next match, doesn't matter. Next match, Brett Johns versus Montel Jackson. Little guy's going apeshit. Brett Johns is crazy, thinks he's greater than he is. He's going to go out and give it 100%. It'll be interesting. Next fight, Joe Duffy versus Joel Alvarez. I don't understand how Joe Duffy is still on the UFC roster. Credit where credit is due, but this could be the last time we see Joe Duffy if he gets his ass handed to him tonight as well. Next fight after that, Grant Dawson versus Nad Narimani. Grant Dawson is very interesting. He's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. Next fight after that, the prelim, I say exaggeratively, Roman Dolidze versus Khadis Ibrahimov. Yeah, not holding a lot of water on that fight being very exciting. But that brings us to the main card, which is fairly exciting. First fight, very interesting for the flyweights. Alexandre Pantoja. Alexandre, I don't know. Pantoja. Very, very overhyped fighter. Very, very unnecessarily cocky at this point in his career. And we've seen Askar Askarov come into the UFC on a fucking tear. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup to open the main card. After that, excuse me, my allergies are kicking my ass. Alright. After that, Ariana Lipski versus Luana Carolina. Lipski is on a tear trying to make a name for herself on the ladies' side of the house, so keep an eye out there. Oops, almost just scrolled down the fucking phone screen here. After that, the people's main event, as it were, the third from last fight on the card. Mark DeCasey, who is always fucking exciting, versus Rafael Fiziev. DeCasey is always fun to watch, but he's had a bit of a rough patch lately. I would love to see that red stripe back in the W column. Let's go Mark DeCasey. Now to the actual co-main event, Jack Hermansson versus Kelvin Gastelum. This is actually a very interesting matchup, but not as interesting as people are making out to be. I like Jack Hermansson, and he's done some good things, but he's nowhere near the top of the middleweight stack in all reality. Gastelum is fighting down. At this point, basically, if Gastelum wins this fight in a handy fashion, he's literally back in the conversation for the next title fight after Paulo Costa, in my opinion. Maybe not getting it immediately, but it puts him back in the conversation, much more so, in my opinion, than Costa himself should have been. Hermansson is a little wild, but I think KG is just on another level from him. So from there, the main event of the evening, the meat and potatoes of the meat and potatoes in this meat and potatoes little fucking snippet clip. The flyweight championship for the vacant belt. Joseph Benevidez versus Deiveson Figureido to the rematch. They're running it back. Everybody made weight. The belt is actually on the line for both men this time. I don't think the headbutt was the deciding factor in the first one. I think Deiveson Figureido was beating the shit out of Joseph Benevidez long before Joseph Benevidez leaned into the headbutt that caused the cut on his head to begin with. Davison was fucking him up. So, much like the Andrade Namajunas fight before the slam that fucking shocked the world, Rose was absolutely beating the shit out of Jessica. We saw that run back go exactly like we thought it would. Rose beat the shit out of Jessica for 3 fucking rounds, and there was no slam this time. I think much like the incident with the headbutt, this is going to be a similar result with no crack. I think Deiveson Figueiredo beats the shit out of Joseph Benevidez, takes the flyweight belt, and goes home a fucking champion with another red stripe in the side. So I would like to see a pair of red stripe wins tonight. Who knows if that's actually going to happen, but with the fights getting ready to start, I'm going to upload this right now so you can watch this in between fights, before somebody walks out, whatever you need to do. Thank you again to everyone who supports the I'm No Joe podcast, and we will be back in full force, hopefully next week. I'll keep you guys updated. Keep your eyes peeled. Thanks again to everybody who supports, and remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Unless you're one of those assholes that has to scream, "I'm not wearing mask, I'm free, baby." Fuck you, wash your hands.
Everybody was kung fu.